You're listening to the Law of Attraction Radio Network.
The secret to well-being is discovering the power that is your birthright, the power to create a happier, healthier life, drawn from our own vast internal resources. Join Jules and her guests as they gently guide you to shift your perspective from the familiar negative to the divinely connected, a place that will not only positively impact your world, but possibly shift the planet. It's all right here on Law of Attraction Talk Radio.
Well, welcome to Law of Attraction Talk Radio. I am so glad you could be with us because, oh my goodness, we have got a tremendous show with none other than James Van Praagh, who is going to be giving us a holiday message. And he's also on the cover of the November 1st issue of Law of Attraction magazine. As a matter of fact, this interview will be in the magazine. So if you want to go and refresh on it and learn, hey, it's going to be up and running on November 1st. So I want to tell you a little bit about James Van Praagh. You know, he's been doing the psychic medium spiritual teacher for the last, 30 years. He has been on Oprah, Larry King Live, Dr. Phil, 48 Hours, The View, so on and so on and so on. He is so well known. So I am thrilled that I get to bring him to you tonight. Also, I want to let you know that not only is he going to be giving us a holiday message on what we can all resonate with those who have passed, but I also want to let you know that he started the James Van Praagh School of Mystical Arts, and that school actually teaches you how to connect to loved ones and how you can actually be part of the veil. You can go beyond the veil and really connect. Now, this is really important, especially in this day and age. I think it's necessary for us to realize that there's more to this 3D world than we can actually see with our own eyes. We have the ability through our intuition. And James is giving us those tools through his School of Mystical Arts. So I want you to sit up, pay attention, and listen to these few commercial messages, and we'll be right back with James Van Praagh.
It's here, it's hot, and it's a must read. It's the science behind the Law of Attraction magazine. Every issue brings you great articles and in-depth how-tos from all your favorite Law of Attraction experts, authors, scientists, and medical professionals. Go to lawofattractionmagazine.net. That's lawofattractionmagazine.net.
Well, welcome, James Van Praagh. I am so excited to talk to you.
Thank you. Thank you for having me. Am I look okay? Have you seen me all right?
Yes, you look great.
I'm
Fabulous.
in my office.
Oh, yeah, at the beach, no less.
Yeah, in San Diego, so it's a nice office here.
Yes, yes. I have literally followed you for, I guess it's been about 25 years. So,
Yeah, I've been doing this for about 36 years now, so yeah.
Wow.
Time goes by fast, doesn't it?
It does. And now you have got a school.
I do.
That you are teaching people how to connect to those beyond the veil. Now, that's powerful because that's something we all need to understand is important right now. Wouldn't you agree?
Very correct. And it's really interesting that I find that most people still, things have changed. The consciousness has shifted, of course, it really has, compared to when we first started in the early 90s. It's different, but everybody doesn't know enough yet about mediumship. And they mix up psychic and mediumship, and it's two very different things. So part of my legacy, I'll say, is developing the school. I always wanted to do this online school, and I wanted to put in there information that would help a lot of people across the board and really from all areas of the world. So the online courses that I have there, and there are 65 videos per course. That's the average. I get homework, and I'm very passionate about mediumship and the work that I do in healing work. So this course on healing is a course on psychic portals. That way, 28-day transformation for those people that want to pass stuff, get rid of their stuff, and come back to their authentic soul self and know who they are. So I have, I was going to be a therapist in life. I was going to be a psychotherapist early on. And so I think I do a little bit of that with my mediumship. So putting that in the courses, and it's a whole array of different types of healing courses, certification courses. Right now I'm working a writing course, which will be out next week.
Wow.
So how to write a book, and it's a 4-month course, and I walk everyone through the process on there for system. So it's a whole array. It's called the JVP School of Mystical Arts.
Now, I think it's important right now that we learn how to do this, because we really, I think, are moving beyond just our 3D world, and we're understanding that there's so much more that we don't see that we need to know.
Yes, the only difference between us and the spirit world, we're souls that are incarnate in the body, and their souls just outside the body. And all around us are worlds, there's realms, there's energy. As we know, we're this 3-dimensional world, but there are radio waves, television waves, microwaves, gamma rays, X-rays all around us, these rays of energy, yet we're not attuned to them because they're a different frequency. And I think it's important for every person to at least become aware of their intuitive self, their soul self. And because, intuition means into the soul. It's the soul's voice, if you will. And I think when people are attuned to their intuition, that gut feeling, then they can make better choices in their life. And I always say that life is a series of choices, either love or fear. And I think if people just knew that, and they knew how to resonate in their intuition and feel it, and go for, like, let's say, a new job or a relationship or whatever it might be, and using their intuition and working that intuition, they'll only choose what's right for them. Because it's important, sweetheart, that most people that I meet, that I teach, they're so in their heads.
Yes.
They become so programmed in life from an early age that we get programmed. You got to do this to be loved. You got to do this to get A in school. You got to do this to be accepted by society. So people become so programmed that way that they're people pleasers. They want to please somebody. They want to be approved. They only get love if they do this. So I find that in midlife, people, many people, many clients, most people I find that life is empty in some way. And the reason why is because they're not living their own truth. They're living someone else's life, not their own life. So what I'm doing is kind of reminding them to reprogram and get back to their true self. And what other people think of them is none of their business. It doesn't matter what other people think.
Yeah, I like that. But so you're saying that our own emotional issues are blocking us from getting into our correct intuition in order to contact or connect.
Not only emotional, but other things, traumas from the past and childhood, traumas there, emotions, you could say that. I see the energy, the body as an energy, a flow of energy. And when there's, let's say, an emotional experience or a trauma that happened in childhood, or whatever it might be, in a relationship or a self-worth problem, we have to release that, because what that does is we hold on to that emotional charges. It blocks up the energy from flowing, so it kind of dams things up. And if we let that sit there and rot, I guess would be a strong word, it'll create an imbalance in the body, and there's no easement, so that creates this ease in body, mind, spirit. So we want to make sure we're very open to that. And it's really important. This is a really good way of seeing it, self-made. If people could just change their perspective and look at themselves as a soul having an experience, not the other way around, and kind of get to a space of observation. Okay, this happened to me for a lesson for my soul to grow. That divorce happened for that reason. That breakup, my son passed away. These are all lessons for the soul to learn. And if we look at it that way, we're human. We have to have human experiences. But if we step back and we become very objective and watch it, it'd be a lot easier.
Wow. So in fact, we are kind of our own worst enemy.
Without a doubt.
Without a doubt. Oh, good.
So we got to change the mindset a little bit.
Okay, and your school helps to do that. So we become aware of some of those issues that perhaps we've even forgot about. What about?
And also, a really important one is forgiveness. Because a
Oh,
lot
yeah.
of people hold on to stuff from a long time ago they can't forgive. And mostly families are a big learning tool. So most also have this group family stuff and now the dynamics. And I find a lot of people can't let go of stuff that happened many, many years ago in their family. The dynamic is strained or stressed. And that's a great learning tool, really. So it's changing the perspective.
Wow. Wow. So we are in this new phase where we're willing to learn more about the world.
The world ourselves.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So now, can I ask a question about that?
Yes.
Thank you. When a thought or a person pops in our head without us even really thinking about it, is that a sign that they want to? Like my dad's always popping in my head.
So what that means is, this is really funny. It's very interesting, and I like the way I portray or spirit portrays it through me. They say that the soul is 80% out of the body and only 20% in the body. There's more of us out of the body than in the body. And the soul is the mind. It's part of the mind. The mind is the soul. The soul is the mind. So after passing, after physical death, the release of the spirit, right, more gets integrated into the bigger mindset. And what happens is our loved ones love us so much, they come around and watch us all the time. They're aware of us all the time. They're not living in a linear world, so they can come in different ways. So what's going on is they will send you thoughts telepathically from their mind to your mind. And they'll send you a thought of themselves. They'll send you a memory. They'll send you a feeling. So like I always tell people, you're driving a car and all of a sudden you think of your dad or your mother just pops in your head. It's not you creating it. It's usually them sending you a thought. So when your dad does that, have a conversation with him and let him fill that space, that mind space above you. And you could easily have a conversation telepathically with your dad. Everybody can do that.
So it's really the kind of the first step to getting your intuition going so that you can connect.
Yeah, the first step is trusting your intuition, is trusting yourself.
Ooh, yeah.
And opening up that space around like your head, like you know it's your dad, but there are most people who don't think it's your dad, they're making this up. So they got to get to a space of trust of self and really surrendering their mind, opening themselves up to that possibility that it is indeed a spirit friend, family member coming to them. Because that love never dies. Love, like life, never dies.
Wow. So let me ask you, because we're coming up on the holidays.
Oh, lovely time, isn't it?
It's wonderful, but so many people feel the loss of their loved ones. How can we feel better? What would your suggestion be?
Well, loved ones always are around during the holiday season. More than they're there, they're observing things. They're with you. I often tell people to, let's say, Thanksgiving dinner, to set another place at the table for them, and they're there, and have a conversation with them. Christmas time, buy them a gift, and have it under the tree or whatever, or Hanukkah, have it there. It's just you realize they're not dead; they're still around us. I also another exercise. I talk about this in school a lot, where I have the person, if they want to contact their loved ones, especially during the holidays, to write them a letter. And then you fold it and put it away in an envelope and put it in your desk or someplace. And on your calendar, write down a response like a week later. And you sit down at a week later's time when you set it up, and you put a piece of paper and you write a letter from them to you in response to your letter.
Wow. Wow, that is a great idea. I never thought of that in a million years. That is so cool.
It works really well.
Oh, I'm going to try that. So when you started this, was it a natural ability or something that you developed?
Both. So I started, and most mediums are that way. Most good, genuine, authentic mediums, you're born with that. In that, I think everybody's born with the ability to play the piano, but not everybody's a concert pianist. You have to have that foundation first of all. So as a child, I used to see spirit all the time. I used to see spirit around people. I used to see colors and lights around people, known as the auric field. I remember when I was like 7 years old, I was saying prayers with my mother at nighttime. And I said, Mommy, who are those people at the end of the bed with lights on? And she said, oh, those are God's angels. You see them too? I saw them when I was a little girl. nothing to be afraid of. They're there to help you. They're from God. They're loving. They're loving. I said, okay. So I never was afraid. So I'd have experiences as a child, and then it stopped in my teenage years because other things happened, like puberty, and so my mind was elsewhere.
Yeah.
And I really wanted to be a sitcom writer because I'm funny, as you can see. And I thought I was from New York. I went to California to San Francisco State and had a broadcasting degree. Make a long story short, ended up in Los Angeles and got a couple of things sold, a couple of pilot scripts, if you will. But then I was working at a talent agency, temporary job, and a lady said, "Do you want to go see a medium?" And I said, "Oh, I don't know what that is." She said, "Someone talks to dead people." I said, "Yeah, I don't believe in that." Didn't really have a sense of it. So I went and I walked into this room, this apartment. This gentleman was meeting from England. He said, "Oh, you're a medium." And I said, "What?" And I just moved there from, I was in New York. I was a cynical New Yorker, and California landed Putin nuts. I'm like, "Oh, this is perfect. Isn't this so perfect?" So he said to me, "In 2 years' time, spirit is going to use you. You're a medium. In 2 years' time, they're going to use you as that." And I thought, this guy's crazy. But he did bring through details and evidence of my loved ones that passed over. So that got me fascinated, opened me up like, wow, there might be a possibility that this stuff is real. So I went to a place called the Bodhi Tree Bookstore, which you're probably familiar with, the Bodhi Tree, right? From Los Angeles on Melrose. And I went every Saturday and I just pulled books out. I was like a sponge. I couldn't stop. Meditation, near-death experiences, UFOs even. Psychic stuff, life after death. I couldn't get enough of it. I'd sit there all day reading, and I used to the Bodhi Tree. I felt like it's down reading. So I ended up meditating. I meditated just to get, I understood that it was, you can visualize your future and it helps you to do that. So I would meditate, not knowing how to. And I would just work with the breath and live off the breath, and I'd visualize myself as a TV producer and writing things or whatever it was, and writing a book. And this is for the mediumship. So temporary jobs, I went through a bunch of series of temporary jobs, ended up at Paramount Studios. And one afternoon, my coworker went into her cubicle, and behind her was a dead lady, a spirit lady. And she looked right at me, and she telepathically said, "That's my granddaughter. Tell her grandma's fine in heaven. I'm alive, and I love her." And then she told me this whole thing about Idaho. I had a house in Idaho, yellow house with white shutters, and needlepoint. Tell her all about that. And I thought, wow, this is wacky. So I asked the coworker, and she said, "That's my grandmama." And we made a pact that when she dies, she gets to heaven, whatever, that she'd come back and let me know she was okay. And every summer I used to go to her house in Idaho that was with colors. And the last thing she did was she taught me needlepoint, and we made a footstool cover together.
Wow.
And so I freaked out. I said, "This is too crazy." No. And I ran out of Paramount, never go back again. And I ran to my apartment, and I was freaking out because I saw dead people. This is back in the early 90s. And I was like, that it wasn't talked about then. It wasn't really out there. And I didn't know what to do because I've never known my life now. Like, oh my God, what am I going to do? I see dead people. How do I live life? How do I do what I do? How can I, continue to be a sitcom writer when I see dead? So the only person I thought I could call would understand me, think I was crazy, was that medium that I'd seen. And his name was Brian Hurst. And I said, "Brian, I saw this dead lady, and she's talking to me, and the lady, her granddaughter, understands everything." And he said, "James, calm down. And he goes, "James, do you remember the prediction the spirit world made that you're going to be a medium?" I said, "Yes." He said, "James, that was 2 years ago today."
Wow. Goosebumps.
So my life changed, and I went with him. He taught me a lot. I sat in development with Brian Hurst for many years. I sit every Tuesday night for an hour for 7 years in the quiet to develop my abilities to develop that mediumistic of the power, if you will, to open yourself to expand and to be able to be discerning between hearing spirit voices, spirit people, and my own. So that's the hardest part of mediumship, is coming from yourself or outside yourself.
Right.
So I sat in development for 7 years, and I started doing readings for people, and it got to word of mouth. But I was busy for like 3 or 4 months, booked out ahead, then a year. And it was all word of mouth, didn't advertise. And then a producer from Unsolved Mysteries came, and I was on their TV show. And then I was on a show called The Other Side on NBC. It was a morning TV show. And that was kind of the first big paranormal show out there. And it was with a man by the name of Will Miller was the host. And it was at 9 o'clock every morning on NBC. And it was a national show. It did real well for 1 year. I think it was before its time. But I was their number one guest, and that's when things went crazy. Then I was on Larry King, and that went crazy. And my first book, Talking to Heaven, went to 6,000 initial copies. That the publisher thought was going to be a stinker because no one's going to want to read about the dead. I said that's wrong because everybody has these two common experiences as humans: we're born and we die, and people know a little bit about birth. They don't know yet about death, so we want to give them more information. And that was very accurate. And anyway, the book went 600,000 copies within a month.
Wow.
Number one for 26 weeks on the New York Times bestseller list. That really catapulted me into the world stage, I guess you'd say.
Well, and not only that, I was surprised to learn. I mean, I watched The Ghost Whisperer.
Oh,
but
sure.
I didn't know that you were the creator.
I created that show.
Oh my God. So were those real experiences from
Some
you?
were real experience or based upon some real experience. We brought in a specialist by the name of Marilyn Monroe, who's a ghostbuster, basically. And she's from Ohio, and she would clear houses of earthbound spirits. Now, personally, everybody has their belief in earthbound spirits. I don't believe they're so readily like we portrayed the show. There might be some emotional blockages. We talk about emotional blockages, where, for instance, it might be you see a young man passes 24 years of age, and he grew up in a very religious household, and he was told that he's going to be a certain way, and if he doesn't do this, he's going to go to hell. Well, he might have lived a lifestyle that maybe wasn't acceptable for whatever reason, so he's afraid to go into the light. That's understandable. Or let's say there's a man that is on his way to work, gets hit by a train, and he pops out of the body, and it's like, my wife doesn't know where the insurance papers are, so he might hang out a little bit and try to get to her. And just like the movie Ghost with Patrick Swayze, he stood around a little bit to make sure his girlfriend was safe. So those sorts of things do happen, and that's the show is really based upon that experiences. That's really what it was based upon. It was based on that. And at the end of every show, if you notice, my thumbprint, I guess you'd say. And I told CBS when I did that show, two or three movies before that with them, movies that we did very, very well. One was my biography with Ted Danson playing me because he looks so much alike, right? So, and that did very well for them. And then Nina Tesla at the time was the head of CBS. She said, "Can you come up with a series?" And that's really what it was based upon. And so I really created a series. I didn't get the credit for it because I didn't realize, and no one told me, you have to write the pilot in order to get creative by credit. So that was kind of screwed up. No one tells you those sorts of things. But listen, it was a show, and my thumbprint at the end of the show, every episode of Ghost Whisperer, she brings him into light. So she brings him into love and healing. And because I said it's very important that you leave this, I want to be responsible for what goes out in the air, that goes into people's minds. That's broadcasting, and I have a broadcasting degree. And I thought, we have to be responsible for what we put out in the ethers. There's so much stuff out there which is dark and fearful, fear-based, still is, right? Even more now. But so I want to make sure that, listen, I'm just something with ethics, responsibility, and that when really people leave that show, then they have to high in a loving state. They might get scared at the beginning or fearful, but then it goes right into that loving healing part, which is really about, I guess, it's a human life, really. We go and get fearful and scared, and we leave the body into that light. So, yeah.
That is so cool because I remember The Sixth Sense. It did give you a lot of fear.
This is like off the table here, but I can't say for sure. But M. Night Shakur wrote that. Him and I had the same agent that was talent agency, and I had a book, my book Talking to Heaven, and the same agent had that book, and M. Night Shakur wrote Sixth Sense, and my book is very similar to Sixth Sense. And I was watching Sixth Sense, and those are my experiences. I used to go to church and see people. I used to go into bed and see people.
Wow.
But it was always positive, loving things. I didn't see negative things or fearful things. And I think that they wanted to make it scary.
Yeah.
That's why they did Sixth Sense. A great movie, of course. I can't take away from that. The movie that really correct was Ghost, though. I think Ghost did a really great job at depicting that, and that love never dies. And I just thought that was a really great movie. I gave it a standing ovation in the theater.
I loved it. So let me ask you then, with Patrick Swayze going off into the light, is that the real thing?
Yes. Usually the light is there, or the tunnel experience, or light experience, different level of consciousness. And it usually happens right away in that the spirit world is ready for you. They're waiting for you. There's a reunion. They're anticipating your arrival. So they'll set up your arrival. They'll be there at the bedside or wherever you're going to be. They've already set up for that. So you'll see someone that you know and you go right toward them because you feel their love. And before you know it, you're out of the body. And there's no pain in death. It's painless. And so it's like, wow, where am I? You're out of the body. So we do it every night we go to sleep. We leave our body in a dream state. The soul will leave the body every night, usually the crown chakra. So what happens is many times people feel like a jolt, or they feel, oh, come back.
Yeah.
Because you're not leaving the correct axis of the crown chakra. So you come back in. So we go every night, we go to spirit world, we pull the dream world, spirit world, and we see our loved ones. A lot of people have dreams of their loved ones. That's why. We see our guides. We see what's going to happen in the future for us in the linear world, human world. So we work on lessons over there. We go to schools over there. We help other souls over there. So we work a lot at night many times. Or sometimes we just don't. We just sit with families. So we do. We're very active in the nighttime. And then we come back in the morning into the body, into the consciousness of the body.
So that is so cool. I love it. So, but before someone passes and they're fearful because of the unknown, the moment they pass, are they feeling good or comfortable or?
Yes. So this goes back to, I wrote a book called Adventures of the Soul, and it's a really good book. It talks about death experience. And the reason I wrote that book, Adventures of the Soul, was because I worked with a lady by the name of Debbie Ford. And Debbie Ford, the shadow effect, and she was the shadow, and she was known for that. We became very good friends for years. And, she got me publishing deals. I got her publishing deals. We did different things with each other. We did a lot of events together. She said to me once, can you help me? I have a rare cancer. Would you help me pass over when the time comes?
Wow.
I said, of course I would. So 2 years passed. And I was not in touch with her all the time because I was traveling. She was getting chemo and different things going on. But toward the end there, I was very aware of what's going on. And she was actually in hospice. And her sister, Ariel Ford, is a big friend of mine as well, would say to me, she wants to speak to you. So I talked on the phone. She said, is it going to be okay, James? I said, yes, Debbie. She said, would you help me? I said, I will guide you. I will guide you. Just don't be afraid. It'll be fine. Okay. I love you. I love you. Those were her best words. 3 days later, I went to Palm Springs, right? I came back, and Ariel told me, she said, she won't go. She will not leave. The hospice nurse cannot believe it. She's never had a patient like this. And Debbie was very stubborn. She wanted to leave. Because my damn sister won't leave. Why won't she leave? Can you please find out? So I said, sure. So I went to the meditative state. I went to the meditative state in my office. And it was really cool. Got to this level where I saw Debbie, beautiful Debbie. And I was talking to her, and I said, it was like mind to mind again. I said, Debbie, why won't you go? It's okay to go. No, James. I said, Debbie, why won't you go? It's just weird. I feel like I've been given a set of keys for a car, but I don't know how to drive it. I said, okay. And she was an 18-year-old son. I don't want to leave him. I said, but he's going to college. He's okay. Everything's taken care of. You're fine. Well, be okay. I said, Debbie, it's fine. And I was able to tell there were 3 men on the other side of the veil to come get her. One was a father, and then 2 friends of hers in Miami, which was later validated by Sister Ariel. They passed over. But I saw them. They're waiting. I said, Debbie, just feel like you're a feather just floating. Or better yet, the Wizard of Oz. The yellow brick road. You're going to Oz. But feel yourself floating and love the love that's coming toward you. Will it be okay? I said, yes, just go for it. Relax, breathe into it, and enjoy the ride. And she said, okay, I promise. I promise. I love you again. And that's it. Then what happened was I went to my living room, and I was watching television, and my husband, Brian, came in the room. And this freeze, it's like 15 minutes later, half an hour later, freezing cold, ice cold, all around, freezing. And Brian walks into the TV room, and he said, did you leave a door open? He's a double Virgo. Did you leave a door open? And I said, no, Debbie passed. And he said, no. So, of course, he checked to see if the door open. There was no door open. So he came back in the room, and he goes, oh, Debbie. And the phone rings, and it was Ariel, and she wanted to tell us that Debbie just passed.
Wow.
Oh, I know. So I wrote this book because at 5 o'clock in the morning, Debbie came again, as Debbie would, and she was really strong about, please write down this experience. You got to share it with people. So I wrote Adventures of the Soul, and she said, I feel so light. I mean, it sounds like a dress like gossamer wings, and I'm light. Why did I worry so much? Why did I worry so much when people think of me about how my looks? Why was I so put up with the human characteristics of my appearance? Why did I waste that worry? And so I put all that in the book, and it's really interesting because to have from a colleague and who's very aware, and yet she had that fear at the end, and then from the point of view when she passes to the light, she comes right back. It's a good book, and it's a good experience, and she comes to me a lot in my workshops now. She'll pop in on the plane ride and when the plane. Well, Deb, you're here. You have to do your workshop with me. Okay. So,
Wow.
yeah.
Wow.
That's our home. This is our school. That's our home.
I interviewed her once, and she's very strong person, very strong, and a little bit of stubbornness in there. I loved her. I thought she was terrific. So, what a terrific story for me to hear. I think that's wonderful. Wow. Wow. So, there, the school, let's get back to the school because I just think this is something that we need.
We do. That's why I did that. We developed it.
So why did we come here in the first place? I just need confirmation. Why are we human?
Well, that's a good question. Very good question. So, number one, we're souls having a human experience. A better way to put it. And the soul needs to learn to experience, to grow and expand. And there are different spaces and places that the soul can do that. So, one of those schools, so there are many schools, and there are millions and millions of galaxies and planets and so forth. I mean, the spirit world once said to me, because I asked them, I said, someone in my audience might want to know, where is the Earth compared to, on the evolutionary ladder? He said, well, James, think of the Earth as a grain of sand on the beach. That's how immense it is.
Wow.
That really put things in perspective. Like, wow. So the human world, Earth world, they say, is a school. So sad. It's a school that is a very important school because it's a place where souls from all different levels come back to. Baby souls who've never experienced even conditions before, learning about what to do, what it's like to be human, so they're crawling, right? And then there are those light beings, those postgraduate souls, let's say, that come back to heal, to help, to bring the consciousness up, to bring love to the planet, to bring love to each other. And then there are the middle souls, middle grade school souls, who are still learning too. So we come back to that experience of the human condition in order to learn about love, really, and whether it's self-love, having a relationship with ourselves. You can't love another person truly if you don't love yourself first. And the way I say that is I say, love yourself more than anybody could. Love yourself more than anybody could. And it's really, that's what it's about. So we learn love in different ways, in different aspects. And because you have these souls at multiple levels, baby soul, postgraduate, just because you have that, it sets up all these different scenarios and dramas with people. So it forces us to go within sometimes to who am I? What's this journey of self-discovery? It kind of forces us to look within ourselves, how we're going to choose this or choose that or do this or do that. So that's why we come back.
Wow. I love that because it is important for us to learn how to love ourselves. And that's so often neglected. I mean, we really don't even, we focus on being a victim. And instead, we need to find, wait a minute, let's go back to me.
That's right. That's right. And a lot of people who are into this work are sensitives, are empaths. And one of the courses I have in school is a really great course. It's tools for the highly sensitive person.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, it's really strong. It's ways to recognize the energy around you, whose energy it is, who's stuck onto you. Because thoughts are things. When someone thinks of you, you're the target. That thought goes right to you. That thought form goes right to you. And it stays with you until you get rid of that thought form. So I have methods I talk about in the course about letting go of releasing foreign energy from your space. First, recognizing the foreign energy and then getting it out of your space. There are techniques and methods that I put in the course for that. So it's
wow,
really good. It really works. And people come and say, "Mike, you look so much younger. You're so much younger." Well, it's because I do these methods every day in the shower or in my meditation, and I'm in my own energy field. I don't have other people polluting my energy field. And I'm in the public eye, so you can imagine. So after every show I do, an event I go through my whole shtick of self care for the soul.
Wow.
Yeah.
That is so cool. Oh boy, I can see I need something like that. I'm going to have to take that.
Yes, you have to.
Whoa, that's exactly what my issue is. I can feel it. Yeah. Oh boy, that's really good. And a lot
stuff. It's not our stuff. It's other people's stuff. We don't realize it. I once had it happened a long time ago, probably 25 years ago. I was in an apartment in Los Angeles, and I did 2 readings a day. And the first reading, 11 o'clock in the morning, I got the space, we'll set up the incense and the music, and it was really nice. And the doorbell rings, and I open up, and it's this lady, and she's crying her eyes out. And I looked at the auric field she had. There was rips and tears and holes and shreds, I guess you could say, like Pigpen from the Charles Schultz comics. Like, oh, and she came in, and I said, "Oh, please come in." And she sat down in the chair, and she was crying. She said, "I can't sleep. I can't make up my mind. I know what's happening. I'm depressed." A litany of things. And I said to her, and she said, "What's wrong with me?" And I said, "It's not what's wrong with you. It's who's wrong with you. Whose energy are you carrying?" So I started pulling out other people's energy from her space, not even letting her know I was doing it because it was complicated. So just cleaning her out there. And when you clean other people's pollution out of your space, your light can expand. So about 15 minutes, she said, are you doing something? Because I feel like my own self again. So, and she left higher than ever. She left fantastic. Back to her true self. I gave her the tools that she needed to defend herself with other people's energy.
Isn't that fascinating? And I bet a lot of people who are in psychiatric care are experiencing that. Is that correct?
I would say that's a factor, without a doubt. And I can't say it's a total thing, but it's a factor that they have other people's energy. They're running, we call it running other people's energy. So they're running other people's energy, and that's what's going on. A lot of us who are sensitives do pick up other people's stuff without knowing it. I mean, also, people that do, I can say everyone that does crime or people that are alcoholics sometimes too, they'll pick up energy from, if they go to these bars or something, they don't be aware. They can pick up some wandering spirit who was an alcoholic who misses that feeling and will attach themselves to somebody to get that thrill, that high. They don't feel it like they used to, but they get the memory of it. So when someone drinks gin and tonic, and they can feel what that would be like as a memory, and that does exist. So it's something to be aware of. To be mindful.
So you really have to be careful.
I would just be mindful, be aware.
Wow.
Especially
And so does that happen to you now, but you have the tools to get rid of it?
Yeah, before I enter, I don't go to bars, but any place I go to, including events that I do, because I don't know who's my audience. I don't know, and my audiences, there are people that are some are depressed, some are they're grieving, they're desperate, so I have all that energy there. So before an event, I will go through at least 20 minutes beforehand, backstage or in the green room, really going through these different ways of opening up myself, bringing my power in, and really, I don't want to say the word protect, because nothing to be protective of, but I'm mindful of my space, I ground myself, and I guess you'd say enlighten my space. So I'm pretty aware, and I'm pretty connected. I call it, there was an old TV show called Get Smart, you might remember.
Oh, yes, I remember.
Right? And they use the cone silence, and they have the meeting. So I often tell my audience, you can't get to me, I have the cone silence around. So it's true. It's where you place your mind and be mindful of the space and the energy of the space. And that for a medium is important because you're dealing with that space that if the spirit people come into that space and speak to you. And again, if that's all fluid with other living humans' energy, thoughts, you're not going to be able to make a connection so strong. It would be blocked.
So is that something like called walk-ins?
No, so walk-ins is Ruth Montgomery, they have that term. She's a journalist and an author. And wrote about paranormal. That was actually the first book I read was Life in the World. Was it her book, Life After Life or something? She wrote a book about On the Other Side. And the first book, I'm trying to remember the name of it. No, I don't remember the name of it. But it was the very first book I read about the other side of life. And she talked about walk-ins that there are some souls in the living world that feel at their end of the mission or they want to leave. They don't want to stay in the body. So they leave and another soul comes in. That's a walk-in. And we had that in Ghost Whisperer, by the way. We had a walk-in. The producers put that in. I left the show after 2 years, so they were going downhill.
Oh.
We're honoring my work. And they did that episode about a walk-in. They called it something different. And I went to one of the producers and I said, you can't call it that. It's called actually a walk-in, is a term for it. And the man said, believe it or not, well, just tell your audience, what we came up with. I said, you can't do that. It's like telling a judge to come up with a different name. You just can't do that. So that was a level of experience that I go through with Hollywood. It was very difficult. Spirituality and the television world is just like train wreck. But but yeah, walk-ins. I don't I wish I knew more about it, sweetheart, but I don't know enough about it to talk about it because I don't know. I mean, is there an aspect of the soul that leaves, another comes in? Is there soul fragmentation that happens, and then part of the soul comes in? You know, like I said, we're 80% out of the body, 20% in the body. So it's so hard to say in this three-dimensional world. We're so limited in a three-dimensional world. So like we have our blinders on. So it's so hard sometimes to talk about those other aspects because they're beyond the human comprehension in some way.
Yeah, yeah. Well, if somebody wanted to walk into me, I would say, no way. See ya. No way. I need to learn here. I got my own stuff.
When's your birthday?
June 15th.
So funny. I thought you were a Gemini. I said, hey, Gemini. Because I know you'd love to pop in and out of your body. But one good thing with you is ground. I think you're pretty grounded. So grounding really works for you because that really puts you in your body. And Geminis are like the balloons or the butterflies of the universe. Because they go from one thing to another thing. They're able to do multitasking.
Yeah.
That feeds the Gemini mind because the Gemini is ruled by the planet Mercury. It's all about the mind and communication. And they have to communicate in different ways. So, but they got to keep grounded because they're air. It's an air sign. They got to keep grounded to the earth. So some Geminis find it very hard to stay grounded because they want to be somewhere else doing something. But every single person should be grounded, no matter what sign they are. Because, you know, the thing is, we're here to have a human experience. And we really want to be in the body fully to experience it fully, the good, bad, or ugly. We got to experience all of it fully. And if we're out of the body half the time, we're unaware of what's going on. Now, I just turned 60, and I'm going to tell you, I'm pretty grounded. And I forget what day it is now, just being my age. So it happens naturally anyway as you get older. But, you know, when you're in the body, it's just stay here. Another thing I just want to mention that comes into my mind, people that want to do spiritual work and they're so into this whole thing, there's a lot of ego. You gotta be careful of ego.
Yeah.
Some of these good people are so evolved and like, I'm so spiritual. Oh, I can't deal with those matters of the earth. What is that about? And I say, you know, you can't be so spiritually evolved that you know earthly good.
That is powerful.
Yeah.
That is so true, huh? Wow. Wow. Well, you must run into a lot of different people who are mediums.
A lot of different people. I teach mediumship in school. I teach different levels of mediumship, level 1, 2, and 3. And for level 3, we just launched that. Level 3 is you have to audition basically. I have to see how you work before I'm going to bring you on as a student. It's a pretty intense apprenticeship with me, and so that has to be. They have to first have a great understanding and have the skill set to be a mediumship 3. But you know, I have 3 levels: 1, 2, and 3.
So it's a personal experience with
Yes.
you.
Yes.
Holy cow. I bet you that is terrific.
I just finished a class of 9 mediumship 3 people and I had them come to California and for 2 days to work with them and see how they're doing. And they did a student demonstration, and I pointed out, you know, for different people, different aspects and different ways to look at something. And how to have them move in this area, look over here. So it was good to be with them at a physical level, you know, one-on-one person.
Gosh, your school sounds so terrific.
Great. There's a lot of great things in school. Yeah.
So even if people don't have the intention of being a medium, but want to expand their intuition, want to connect, and that's what I think we're lacking. We're unable to connect. So that's how come so many people feel lost. Would you agree with that?
Without a doubt. They have no relationship with their own souls. And looking outside themselves to fulfill themselves, when really that's not going to work. You first have to fulfill your own soul, your own self. You have to have that relationship with yourself first before you're able to get other things happening. And like you said earlier, a lot of people want to play the blame game, the victim card. And that's not what it's about. We got to be strong within who we are and realize these were experiences. You know, we tend to blame mothers and fathers and partners. You know, we got to take responsibility for our choices and for who we are. And we first got to have that relationship with self, learn who self is. And you know, when you get in that space, and the school does that with lots of courses, we help them to get into the space of self, honoring that sacred self, being who they are. And like I said earlier, which is a very common phrase from Terry Cole Whitaker, Wayne Dyer, and that's where I got it from these other teachers, other people in the field, where what other people think of you is none of your business. And it's very, very true, because people get so caught up in what other people think of them. And you know what? No one can love you more than you can love yourself. So that's our journey to get back to ourselves. And our life would be so much easier if we did that. If we,
Wow.
I mean, I recently met some who worked in Gardner, who were a kind man, and I had to let him go because he was not committed to. He'd say, "I'll be here a certain time." He never shows up. A few days later, I told him, "Ford, you got to be there. You got to show up." And I had to let him go the other day, and he still doesn't understand why. So I pointed out, I don't know if he just can't hear me but so we got to take time to be with ourselves and see who we are and make that commitment and then be responsible human beings.
So you mentioned Wayne Dyer, and have you had experiences where you can see them on people who have passed?
Yes, I actually was fortunate enough to know Wayne very well. He was a good friend of mine. And for the years, the events event together, so I knew Wayne. And after he passed, another friend of mine, Doreen Virtue.
Oh, yes.
Lady, right? The Angel Lady. Used to be the Angel Lady. She was living in Hawaii, and I went to visit her. And Wayne had just recently passed, about 3 months earlier.
Yeah.
And his assistant, Dee Garnes, wrote a book with him. And Dee also lived in Hawaii. And Doreen asked me if I'd do a reading for her. And sure enough, Wayne came right through. She's the one that discovered his body, actually.
Oh,
And
wow.
with him. And it was a great reading. It was a great message. And he really, it's like he didn't stop. He just went one phase to another. And he's still inspiring people where he's at. And he's around his family a lot. That's a very good message for his family and for the publisher of his books. Yeah.
Wow, that is so neat. That is so, wow, you live a blessed life. I'll tell you, to actually see Wayne Dyer and Debbie Ford, oh my goodness. That in itself would make me want to be a medium, right now.
I've worked with a lot of celebrities too. I worked with Roger Hammerstein, I worked through Marx Brothers, I worked through Ben Franklin, I worked through Lincoln, Kennedy, who else? Marilyn Monroe. A lot of different people I worked through. Who was the other one? Some interesting people. Lots of different celebrities. A lot of different people. I worked with Shirley MacLaine here, bringing to a lot. Frank Sinatra's come through.
Oh my God.
Sammy Davis Jr.'s come through. So had a lot of different. I do work with a lot of celebrities and a celebrity on the other side. I work with a lot of different leaders of the world and different things. So I get a lot of interesting people come through. But this is very interesting. The personality they have here on the earth. Lucille Ball said this to me. I was in my garden, which is right after she passed away, probably 5 months afterwards. And I didn't know her personally, but I loved her show and her humor. And she came to I was in a rose garden. I had a rose bush. And she came to me and she said, I said, Lucy. And she goes, yes. She said, I'm not what people made me to be. She goes, they made me that way. I just came back to heal people with my humor. But they made me this thing. I thought that's really interesting.
Wow.
And when Marilyn Monroe came through, I was doing a reading for Lee Strasberg's daughter, who was writing a book about. She was roommates with Marilyn in the early days, and Marilyn came through the end of the reading. It was the very end of the reading, and Norma said, "My name's Norma," and it was her. And all she said was, she gave personal details and evidence to this woman, Susan, and she said, "I wish they, in the public, would pay homage to themselves instead of to me." Isn't that interesting?
Wow, that is so wonderful.
And Prince Diana's come through me, and she said, I was through a reading with her before she passed, and she came through and said, I had the choice to stay on the earth or be with or be here in the spirit world. And she said, I knew I could help my children more from the spirit side of life. That's why I chose to be here.
Oh my goodness. And she's done a fantastic job.
I mean, you really see it, don't you, with Kate? Someone's like, wow, an embodiment of Diana. And yeah, you see she's done a great job of those.
Yeah. Absolutely. And those kids, even so privileged, they haven't had an easy time.
They haven't easy time. I think they're pretty down to earth. I really feel that they're pretty down to earth. So.
Listen, we're almost out of time, and I so enjoyed this, but I want to see if maybe there is a holiday message that you can share with the audience for the upcoming Thanksgiving and Christmas holidays.
Sure, a message. Sure. Let me just think of one. Number one, that they're not alone. That your loved ones are with you always, especially at the holidays. Light a candle for them, and realize they come closer to you during the holidays than other times because they come to family reunions and they join you in that connection with them. So remember, you're always connected, but especially during the holidays, set up a place at the table for them, light a candle, sit quietly and let them come to you and ask them to come into your mind and to bring a thought, because they will do that. So just be open-minded and receive from them. Especially during the holidays, you're not alone. They're all around you at that time.
Light a candle. And you
You
don't
got it.
have to miss them because they're there.
They're right there. They're right next to you. They're always there. And
Ooh, chills down my back.
goosebumps. That's because you know it's true. That's your validation. So mine is, I get very emotional. So I'm crying. That's my validation. People give them validation when they're touched by spirit. Yeah.
Wow. Oh my goodness, this has been a true pleasure. I can't thank you enough. And thank you for being the cover of Law of Attraction magazine. And
Thank you for having me.
oh, I love it. And come back to Palm Springs.
Okay.
We love you, this area. We can feel your vibes here. Thank you so much.
You're welcome, sweetheart. Thank you. Okay.
Thank you so much for joining us. We'll be back next week with another great show from Law of Attraction Talk Radio. If you'd like to comment on tonight's show, send an email to jules@loaradionetwork.com and have a great week.